We got power. Yeah, 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 yeah. 1111 means your spiritual power being made actual in the material world. Say it again. I got power. And welcome back to Wakefulness Theology. My name is Messenger Paula, and I'm here with the second part of 1111. It's part 19, but I had to put it into two parts, so I guess this would technically be 1111 part 20. So last week we talked about this miraculous message from Sister Tamika, and as you can see here, I explained how it came about. We went through all of this. This was her message, and so we deciphered her message, which was miraculous because she doesn't speak Hebrew, and only through the word of Yahushua directly to her, she was able to write this message down in Hebrew. And I don't speak Hebrew either, and only through Holy Yahushua I was able to decode this message. And just to summarize what the message is, a benefactor, they're talking about us here, talking about me, but not only me, all of us who are doing this work at this time. A benefactor is freely choosing to run after the teaching of Torah by practicing acts of kindness. That's what I'm doing here. And in this, we are finding hidden goodness, or showing and getting hidden goodness. The latent power of the spiritual potential to be made actual in the physical. And the code for this is 1111. And that's because Kaf is 11, and then she has Kaf 2 times. So that's 1111. The latent power of the spiritual potential to be made actual in the physical will happen when the books are printed. Now, if you watched the video last week, you understand. And then I went through and I explained how I knew that through the letter lines. So the end of the message: the crown of understanding is your weapon, your sword, which comes from spiritual nourishment and food. And this is what we are doing right now. And we have 4 years to get the spiritual nourishment food, which will be our understanding, which will be our sword and our weapon. And this is reflected in Revelation 11:5. So that was the message. We added up the values and we went through what they mean, 59 and 119, and it pretty much is saying the same thing as what I just read to you. So when we stopped last week, I was explaining that the 1111, what Holy Yahushua, thus saith the Lord, 1111 means your spiritual power being made actual in the material world. Boom, 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 knock it out. Chica! Just like here, Kaf and Kaf, this is the 11th letter of the alphabet, so it's 11 and 11 right here, which means you were a spiritual child with guardians and managers until the day set by the Father to mature and become a spiritual, mature Israelite. That's when I understood that that is what the 1111 mean. The difference is, before when we were talking about, I'm going to clarify this at the end, before we were talking about the 5 groups of the bridal army and the codes for them, and I was saying we add the 1 for Yahushua, because that comes from Daniel 3, and I explained that in a past video. This is not 1.111 is not the same as 1111. Do you see what I mean? This is really 2 11s together. That means your spiritual power being made actual in the material world, and that's from Kaf. Kaf, 1111, the latent power of the spiritual potential to be made actual in the physical. That is literally what 1111 means. Kaf, Kaf. 1111, having your spiritual power being made in the actual world. So listen, church, saints, it is when the body of Christ is actualized on earth. It is when we go from this not even a triangle, trying to make a triangle, to the 1, 5, 3 triangle. This is our potential, and this is the actualization of our power here on earth as the body of Christ. This is complete confirmation of what we've been talking about. I'm just realizing it. I mean, I knew it, but I don't get it until I say it. Now that I'm saying it, I'm like, duh. I think I knew that. And this is what really pushed me over the edge, okay? You guys remember this clock. Look, I told you about the 4 years and we did the calculation, and it has been exactly when I had this message from Sister Ashley. It was like literally a day to the week or something like that of it going from 4.5 years to 4 years, if you remember that. Sister Tamika, now that Sister Tamika gave me this message, she said it was to adjust my eyes because heaven knew that I didn't really see it really well. So they have adjusted my eyes with this message. And look, 5-11-11. 5-11-11. So it means that we will, right here, this is where we are. We are not 5-11-11. This is where we will be next year. We won't be 5-11-11. This is where the next year after, we will not. In 4 years, we will be transformed into the 5 groups of 11-11s. Meaning, actualize, be with me, stay with me, saints, don't leave your bodies. Don't pause, stay with me here, meaning that our spiritual power, it will be made actual in the material world. And this comes from, saints, stay with me, come on. This comes from the crown of understanding is your weapon, and it's your sword, which comes from this spiritual nourishment. So when I'm saying this spiritual nourishment, I don't only mean my video, of course, you know, I can name off so many people. Wherever you want to get your food, whatever restaurant you want to eat at, that's fine. But this process that we are going through right now for the next 4 years is that spiritual food, is the time of gathering. That manna, like I said in a video not long ago, the heaven is just, is like, here. They're just throwing the manna out the door, and we're just like trying to catch it, and we're trying to eat, and we're trying to feed people. That's what's happening. And that is the spiritual power that will be manifested in 4 years when we come together. All right, so this is the part that I said earlier that I am putting the pieces together for myself. I've already done a timeline of Revelation 12. This is Revelation 12. This is Revelation 11. In my old videos, if you guys were following me, maybe you'll remember. On December 6th, Trump made the announcement about Jerusalem being the capital of Israel. And if you remember, at that time, I had a dream that night about 4.5 years, and then I woke up and I received 2 menorahs, and I went through that whole thing like, what is going on with the 2 menorahs? And then that led us to the witnesses and the whole thing. That's how that started. And then there was another thing I went through on November 13th because of the earthquake. Now, I started my ministry on November 13th, 2016 on YouTube. There was a whole like prophetic thing that had gone on with that. The 7-3 is also this date, and this holy letter was involved with me starting my ministry. It was a big deal, and I explain it in old videos. And so it turns out that on November 13th, for a series of years, a few years, we had gotten on and around that date earthquakes with 7.3. After I realized that 7.3 means earthquake. That's what 7.3 means. And so there was this whole thing where it's on my website. I don't have the time in this video to go through all the details, but like I said, it's in my videos, my old videos, if you really want to know the details. But here, if you go to my blog on wakefulnesstheology.com, you have to scroll down because I haven't figured out how to do it better. But here I post a lot of videos. I post a lot of pictures that I use in my videos so that you guys can have a better look at it if you want. So I'm scrolling down my blog on Wakefulness Theology. Sharing the gifts, that's what I wanted to say. Yeah, he's someone else who gives spiritual food. If you're able to decipher, if you're able to interpret his dreams. So this was November 15th, 2017. So you can just come here and click on this link and you'll have the video that explains. So because of earthquakes that happened 3 years in a row on November 13th in Japan, Christchurch, that was another big important part when the dream, the first notable earthquake happened in this series of events. It was in in Christ Church. Come on, that's a sign. And Iran, Iraq. I've understood that the letter line 73 means, among other things, earthquakes. So you click here. An athletic contest, hence a struggle in the soul, a gathering, struggle, Gersh, Sath, touch. I told you we've been talking about running that athletic contest for a long time. Bluster, I bear up against the wind, I face, resist, withstand, look straight at, to produce, causative, to make a thousandfold, to bring forth thousands, organic matter. Now, before I read the translation, 73 and 37 is huge because it is the third and fourth star number. So we will do a study into 73 and 37. 37 is like the foundation holy letter for Yahushua in the Bible. I think I said in another video that the word Savior is mentioned 37 times. It's huge. It's a whole nother thing that deserves its own video. And now I understand much more than I did. I think I did a video about 73 or 37 before, but I didn't know like I know now. We'll have to come back to that. Another point before I read the meaning, to make a thousandfold, to bring forth thousands. The reason I started my YouTube channel, the reason I started this ministry, you'll see, I've showed it before, like twice. I got flipped out because I had a music ministry first. I didn't know I was a minister. God called me into the ministry in 2014, I think. And I studied from 2014 and 2015, the hidden codes, the text. I finished, he gave me, because I have a formula that he had been teaching me for like since 1999, but the formula was completed in August 2016. And then I started the YouTube channel November 2016. Okay, so this holy letter, I had it, you see, 2011 and 2017. So it was 2016. So I knew that this holy letter was coming. And I didn't understand to bring forth thousands. I was like, I was happy about the letter because I was like, I think it means that my music career is going to be successful and I'm going to be singing in front of thousands of people and this is going to be great, you know. And then so when the whole ministry stuff started to happen, it was crazy. I can't even go into it. It was just a big thing. But I'm bringing it up now because I'm actually singing in front of thousands of people now, because I told you the 2017, it can go to 2018 because it goes to April. So March and April 2018 was still 2017 in Hebrew. Do you see what I mean? Now is June. This year, within this letter line time, I did a show at Bataclan and there was like 2,000 people there. I did a show for Fête de la Musique and there was maybe 3,000 people there, maybe more, 3,000, 4,000. And I'll be doing something in August and there will be upwards of 5,000 or more people there. So this letter line has come true. Again, I wish I could do a video, nothing with just showing you how my letter lines come true year after year after year, and I live them. It's almost like a roadmap. They come true. After you understand after. So before I didn't really know. I was like, bring forth thousands. I thought it meant more either the ministry, music ministry, or the YouTube channel, but I don't have thousands of people on my YouTube, so it's the music. So by the way, my music ministry, I will share that with you guys at some point, but not right now because it's a distraction. We need to focus on this. I just brought it up because it came true. You are called to run the spiritual race in the spiritual war, as in Hebrews 12:1 and 1 Corinthians 9. You are given deserved leadership and are now a guide, worker, and leader in this race. As a leader, you touch others and create bonds. There will be many earthquakes in the world and shakings of your immortal value. So I just want you to notice that 2011 and 2017 are the years that this is when we had the Fukushima earthquake, and this is when we had that Iran-Iraq earthquake, which was huge. It was record-setting earthquakes. That is the years I've gotten this line. That's when I understood this means earthquake, because when I wrote it, I was trying to figure out blessed organic matter, like what is it, you know? And then when I looked in the code and it literally said earthquake, it was undeniable. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this on here in faith, and I'm gonna publicly say this to people in faith. But if there's no earthquake this year, then that's, you know, not, and boom, there was the biggest earthquake in history with the Iran-Iraq one, and Fukushima. So here, proven. And that's how I knew, like, oh, this is real. Okay. This is because you are a stranger on earth and not of this age. By the way, people use the word stranger in the wrong directions. We are the strangers on earth as true humans. But you will bear up against the wind, face it, resist it at a time when there will be great upheaval in the world and in man, whether the situation is, whatever the situation is, it will involve 1,000 or thousands of people. It is possible that the 1,000 could represent other things as well. I put that because I didn't know at that time, but now I have to change it because, yeah, it literally means what it says here, and that was right. Okay, so that's how I understood the 73 means earthquakes. So FYI, the Paris attacks were also on November 13th. I live in Paris, so that's why it's a big deal. The date November 13th is important because of prophetic confirmations through Minister Paul and Sister Rhonda Thompson. 1113, November 13 is 1113. That's what we're talking about. 113 being the witnesses, or 1,113, the witnesses with Yahushua. And then last week we talked about 113. So November 13th is important because of the prophetic. Last year, Minister Paul released a video that confirmed the letter line 73, and his video was released the day before the Christchurch earthquake on November 13th. So I had just understood that 73 meant earthquakes. And then I was watching Minister Paul's video, and he was describing the letter line 73 without knowing it. He was using those key words. And then his video was posted the day before the Christchurch earthquake. And then Sister Rhonda did the same thing. She released a video that confirmed letter line 73, because I told you, I understand this code because I'm doing this work. So when you say a certain word, it's a key word. Like, for example, if you say nutrition, nutrition is 7. The holy letter 7 in Roger is nutrition. So if you say the word nutrition, that I get that on a deeper level. If you say the word upheaval, that's one of those words. They're code words. So when Sister Rhonda was talking in her video, she was saying those words because the spiritual world, it's a language. They're using the same words over and over. They don't say sin, they say error. When I hear the word error, I know it's a different language. So Sister Rhonda was using those words, and my ear was like, doot, 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 doot. And then I knew it was letter line 73 because I had done letter line 73 and I knew what it said. And then her video was released the day before the Japan 7.3 earthquake on November 22nd. Okay, so this is documented. It's in my YouTube stuff. So this year, the Iraq-Iran earthquake was also 7.3 on November 13th. The Iran-Iraq earthquake seems to be a prelude or warning for an event like in 1113, because Revelation 11:13 is November 13. Now, what I was saying was, I'm not saying that this earthquake that happened was the earthquake of 1113. I'm saying it was a warning or a prelude or some kind of forecast to it. And there's so much more, but I don't have time to deal with it in this video. So just look here, Revelation 11:13. It happened on November 1113. The two witnesses, Iran and Iraq. So this earthquake, you can look it up if you want, but it is not common. They don't always have earthquakes simultaneously in two countries. Like, this was a record event that happened. Now, I'm not saying Iran and Iraq are the witnesses. I'm saying it's symbolic, the fact that it happened in two countries of the two witnesses. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, I don't know. I'm saying it is a message, okay? And the fact that there were 8,000 injured, what I was saying was, this is obviously not the actual event, because when it act here, there was only 8,000 people injured, and when the thing really happens, there will be 7,000 killed, not injured. So I was saying, you know, it's not the real one, but it was definitely a message that was marking something. When the real one happens, it will be the second woe. So the reason I'm bringing this up is that was a marker in time for me. So December 6th and November 13th, that is 23 days apart. So this is how I know that this right here, Revelation 11, because this is Revelation 11, Revelation 12, and right here. And I explained last week how I can see the timelines, the hidden timelines in these holy texts because of wakefulness theology. Okay, so, and I will give power until my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. I know that this happened in 2017 because of these two events. How this was a sign, and this was a sign that he called his witnesses. This is 11, this is the 11:3. Happened, was fulfilled, at least between this time. Either on this date or this day or somewhere in between, but this is when this happened. I did a calculation, the earthquake with the Trump event, and that's literally 23 days. So that would be 23 days apart now and 23 days apart in the future when it happens. So what I mean by that, when it happens, is let's assume I'm correct in my understanding, and that Revelation 11:3 did indeed happen between those two dates, you know, either December 6th or November 13th. So I took November 13th and I added 1,260 days, because that is the amount of time that they're supposed to prophesy. That would land us on April 26, 2021. And if we go from November 13th, 2017, and you add the 1,260 days, which is 1,203 score days, then that would put us in Monday, the 26th of April, 2021. So both dates are in 2021. Right now, the 6th to the 13th is 23 days apart. And so therefore, logically, in the future, it would also be 23 days apart. Does that remind you of something that happened recently? So do you guys remember when I took this picture? I posted it in a Wakefulness Theology group. We talked about it for a while, the 2323. And I've walked past this gate many times, many years. I've been here almost 19 years. I saw it and I was like, yes, that's it, 2323. For me, that's confirmation. This is 23 days apart on both sides, in 2017 and in the projected 1,203 score days. It would still be 23 days apart in 2021. All right. So the reason I'm showing you this is because this is how I know this was confirmation for the timeline. I explained this last week, that between 2023 and 2025 is when this message will come true. This is when we will become 51111s. So I will show you the timeline in just 1 minute, but I wanted to connect some dots. So 2 videos ago, we talked about 116 from Psalms, and I explained how you have the Romans screenshot. That was Romans 116, but it wasn't Romans, it was Psalms, and I explained that. Romans 116, Psalms/Romans, because of my computer glitch. 116:15 equals Revelation 11:7, which equals Revelation 12:19. So let's read this again. I read it 2 videos ago, so I won't read this again. You can pause it and read it for yourself. I'll just read the translation. Now at this time you are rejoicing in wisdom. In you wisdom reigns. You have plans and expect to grab something that is shedding or pouring forth blood in sacrifice. You are receiving the light and turning to Yahushua HaMashiach. You have visibility and can see an endemic for what and who and what they really are. So I explained that last week, that this was saying the same thing as the Psalms 116. That's what that's talking about right here at the beginning of the verse. And then it says, but I prayed to you, and then you saved me, and you kept me from stumbling, and you delivered my soul from death. Okay, so that is what they're talking about right here when it says that his power and grace dwells in you and he keeps you from being led into error, which is death. That's sin. Let's go back to the verse. And then it says right here, I will lift up the cup of salvation and I'll render to the Lord what benefits me. So all of this right here, you have the 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This is code for the 5 groups of the bridal army. So this is code for what each group is doing as far as ministry. It's right here, and I'll explain it in a minute. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this is the ministry. And then 15, which is whatever event that comes that is going to take away the 110, half of the 110 right here. And then you have 16, which is the result of that, which is, I am your servant, the son of your maidservant. You have loosed my bonds. Maidservant, bonds. Do you guys remember where you heard that before? It's right here. Revelation 7, 3 through 4, when you add it up, it turns into 14, which is the representation of those who have sealed, until we have sealed the bond servants of God on their forehead. The bond servants of God. And it's right here, right here. I am your servant, the son of your maidservant. You have loosened my bonds. These are the bondservants right here. These are the sealed that are coming to work after this event happens. The result of that is 16, which is 116, because this is actually Psalms 116. And then you have, then you have us at the 18 and 19, and that's us working and doing the harvest work here. Do you see how that works? Do you see how that works? It lines up exactly what it's saying here, and exactly what it's saying here is exactly what they're saying here, which is actually Psalms. So I explained that last week, that this was saying the same thing as the Psalms 116, the same thing as Revelation, saying the same thing as Revelation 11 and Revelation 12:9. So let's look at that. So here I have Revelation 12 and Revelation 11. So we want to look at Revelation 12:9 right here. This is the 6:11 or the 11:6 event. And here on Revelation 11, right here, 6:11, 11:6 event. What I did was I just lined it up. I explained 2 videos ago how to break down using the code Psalms 116. And I matched Psalm 116 with the letter line for 113, which means those who are sealed, and 116, which we said represents what happens after. So I'm doing the same thing here. I have the mark that was right here. I explained how I knew that this represents the witnesses being called, and I explained that that's how I knew it was 2017. So I put right here 2017 for Revelation 11. And plus I was told to look at Revelation 11:11 through Yahushua's message through Sister Tamika. Now, I hadn't done Revelation 11 before, but I had done Revelation 12 before. And so the starting part for 2017 for Revelation 12 is Revelation 12:5. And I knew that because in 2017, we had that sign that everybody was calling the Revelation 12 sign. But in old videos, I've already explained that that actually happened in 2012. So the one that we saw last year in 2017 was actually bringing forth the Jupiter, which is actually Satan, which is actually what they're talking about later when Satan gets cast down and all of that stuff. This is not the same sign, it's a different sign, but that sign appeared in Revelation 12 here, 2017. That's how I know that it starts there. We also have this that we talked about 2 videos ago, and I showed you in Psalms that it says, I hope you guys are following me, because if you're not following me, you're not going to understand this. If you are, then you're going to be like, your mind is going to be blown, but you have to do the work. This is the only way that Satan is not going to steal it away from you, is if you directly are getting these messages in your dreams and in your directly from Ruach Ha Kodesh and Yahushua in your relationship, and then you see me and this is confirming what you already have gotten, or it's clarifying or helping you understand your own pieces, and then you do the work yourself so that you understand this for yourself, and that's how Satan can't steal it away from you. If you're just casually looking at this, you're not going to get it. It's going to go like that right there. So you need to do the work. So in the 2 videos ago, Psalms 116, I broke it down and I said Psalms 116:15, precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. And I explained that, how that is the water event that will be happening. That is maybe not the water event. I'm just used to saying that because that's what I've understood all this time. It could be another one, but some event where this is where half of the 110s are going to be going home. Okay, so you have the same thing right here. This is the 116 event. When they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them. That's the same event, or one like it. If it's not the same one, it's talking about the same thing. And I put 2021 here because of what I just showed you. I just showed you the Trump event and the Jerusalem event and the earthquake. When you do the 3 score, when you do the date calculation on it, you get 2021. So that's why I put that here. And it just happens to line up with this being 2017, and I've already explained to you why. So it lines up. I didn't force this to happen. It lines up. If you start here and you say the witnesses were called in 2017 because of whatever I already explained to you. And then you count in sequential order 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. It lines up that they're talking about people being killed. What I mean is, here you have 1, 2, 3 rows in between this verse and this verse. It doesn't have to be that way. It could be 5 rows in between this verse and this verse. So what I'm saying is the fact that it happens to line up, the timing that this starts in 2017 and then exactly 1, 2, 3, 4 verses later it talks about them dying, which matches exactly the calculation here. 2021. I don't know if that makes sense to you. I'm trying to explain, but okay. Let me just keep going. So on this side, this is Revelation 11, this is Revelation 12. So the same thing, I knew that this was 2017 because of the sign in the sky. And then you just count sequentially 18, 19, 20, and then boom, 21. It says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. I don't know what happens, but I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be good. And this is when the 116 event falls on that verse. Do you see what I mean? So what I'm trying to show you is that it lines up. Like, I'm not forcing it. I'm not using my imagination. I'm not here going, I'm just putting down what the signs and the messages that I'm getting, and I'm just putting it here on the paper, and it is by itself, it is lining up. That's what I'm showing you. The information that I'm getting, I put it here on the paper, and it lines up. So what else do we have here? So this was let's just do Revelation 11 first, because I was told in the message from Sister Tamika to look at Revelation 11:11. Okay, so let's look at that. This is when it started. This is when the witnesses were called, given power. Okay, this is where we are right now. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before God of the earth. So this, for me, if I had to interpret it, it's like us doing what we're doing right now. We're appearing, we're getting spiritual nourishment, we're here. This we talked about last week, saying that the spiritual nourishment that we are getting right now will be the fire that's coming out of, coming out of our mouths if someone should attack us, because we're just going to be dropping like wisdom, right? With this information, you can't be deceived. It's not possible. I imagine it like with Yahushua in the wilderness with Satan, and Satan would say this, and then Yahushua would just be like, just cut it down, That's my imagination. So that's 2019, and I've said that is, from my understanding, that's when Satan's army will be gathering, because you have to have an equal and opposite reaction to what we're doing. We are about to form that 153 triangle, and so you're going to have the equal and opposite reaction where Satan's army as well will be assembling. And we had that from the Google Doodle timeline. And then in 2020, I don't know, I didn't read it that deeply. 2021, this is what we've talked about. This is when some event happens. 2022, I did a whole playlist called 2022. I have no idea what this is, but it's not good. It's bad, okay? And we've been warned about it, and we are living a countdown to whatever is supposed to be happening at this time. I assume it's the Prince of Persia shows up. It's, some war, some disaster or something happens, and we'll be dealing with this in 2022. But the most important thing is 2023 to 2025. This is the 9/11. Look, verse 9, verse 11. It's 9/11. So again, I'm not making this up. I'm just putting down what I've understood, what I've explained to you in this whole playlist. This is it right here. I put it down, chronological order, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and it just so happens to line up that 2023, 2024, and 2025 falls between the verses 9 and 11. Now, let me remind you, let's go back, because I think I don't know if you guys are getting this. I'm not saying that because I think you're stupid or something. Please forgive me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying because it's so complicated, it's so complex, and it's not easy for me to explain. So, and plus, because it's video, I don't know when you actually get it. You might be there and going, oh, I understand, but I can't see you, so I don't know. So here we did the values on her letters, Gamel, Tet, Kaf, Zayin, And we said that it adds up to 11:19, and backwards is 9:11. This whole message is 9:11. That's the whole total quality of the message. And right here, 9/11. And it says on the thing that in 2023, just remember 2023, 2025. This is when the message said from Yahushua himself through Sister Tamika that we will be fully actualized 153 triangle, mature sons of Yah after the books have been published. If you remember, it falls right here. 23, 25, 9, 11. This is the verse that Yahushua said to pay attention to. Revelation 11:11, meaning spiritual maturity of Israel, the 153 triangle. And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of God, the Spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. So the thing is that this is in code, and I cannot tell you what that's going to look like. I don't know. But the meaning is that whatever's going on, this is when we are fully actualized. I assume it's talking about the 153 triangle, the sons of Yah, Israel, true ones, true Israel. We will be fully actualized, and our spiritual power will be made actual in the material world, and we will be ourselves, expressing ourselves with nobody to spoil it, until all the limbs of the body of the church will unite in one place and attain the restoration together by appearing as the sound body, the restoration to the fullness. That is what will happen on Revelation 11:11. This right here, that's what that means. Not only like a real actual life, because I don't know how that's going to look. Maybe there will be dead people and these dead people will stand up. I don't know. But whatever actually happens, the hidden meaning in this is what I just said. It is the time 2025, and this has already been, this is confirmation. It is a new timeline, because I didn't know Revelation 11 before, but it is saying the same thing. That the body of Christ, 153 triangle, we will be spiritually mature and actualized between 2023 and 2025. It will be done in 2025. The books will be printed after 2023, and I showed you that already last week. And that's when I was told that my book would be done, because we are supposed to be writing all of this stuff that's happening with us. You need to be writing this down. You need to be documenting this. This is proof. That is what being a witness is. You need to be writing this down. So this right here, I got this letter right here, 793. I told you last week about my writing or my work being completed, not established, but completed in 2023. So I've already known that to be true and proven in 2029. That's what we talked about last week. So once again, I'm just showing you it lines up. I hope you guys, if you've been following me, I hope you can see that I'm not making it up. It's going to look crazy if someone just stumbles upon it and they'll laugh like, ha ha ha, you think you know or something. I don't think I know anything. All I've done was put down the signs and the messages that I've received. I put them here and it all lines up by itself. I didn't do anything. Let's look at Revelation 12. It does the same thing. Again, this is because of the sign in the sky. Now look how this lines up. 17, 18, 19, 20. This is the 6 and the 9. Where are we? We're in April 2018. That is why we're seeing the 6 and the 9. Sister Polly. Sister Polly. Look at this thing. This is why we got the message for the 6 and the 9, because between 2018, 2019, and 2020 is when we are turning the key. This is when we are opening this door, which is opening like the seal, which is the knowledge and the wisdom here in our chakra, and getting this spiritual food, this nourishment, which is our weapon. That's happening now between 18, 19, and 20. This is what we're experiencing right now as I'm talking to you. This is what is happening, the 6 and the 9. Tell me, how am I going to make that up? How am I going to squeeze it and manipulate it? I didn't do nothing but put the information there. It lines up by itself. Look at this. 2021, boom, the event. Same as here, same as the Psalms 116, same as the letter lines. Boom, 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 right here. 22. Now, this is when we said that the accuser will be cast down. Look, and I heard a loud voice saying, now is the time of creation, salvation, and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accuses them day and night. And that's why we said that maybe in 2022 is when we're going to have the Prince of Persia showing up. So here again, you see the 1111 sons of Yah. So here it said in the letter line that it said in Yahushua's message, thus saith the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach through Sister Tamika, that we will be the 1111s after the books are printed. He said that. I know that the books will be printed after 2023 because of the letter lines. That's how I'm able to see these timelines in the books. It lines up here, 9/11, which is the total of the message that Yahushua gave us. Are you with me, please? Again, right here, 2023, when the books will be published, when we will be actualized, is literally, look at this. It literally falls on the 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives until death. It is literally saying it right here. April 23, when the books will be written, that we overcome by that word, the word of the Lamb. I don't know if I'm putting this story together for you guys. If you understand what I understand, you should be flipped out. You should be hyped. So right here, it lines up that when you put the years, that 2023, it says that this is when we will overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word and of our testimony, which is when the books are written, which is the word of our testimony. This that I'm doing, that I'm writing, is the word of my testimony, based on voluntarily looking and searching for the secrets in the Torah, in the holy books. Do you understand? This is here, lines up. This is the 11, 23. And I put April because we go from April to April in Hebrew years. So our books are finished. And this is when we become the 153 mature sons of Yah in this time. And in 2025, the process is done. We're working. We're ready to work, and we're ready to do that harvest from 2025 till 2040. It lines up. It's right here. Now, I know somebody who's going to just drop in on a casual bit. You can criticize all you want. I'm sure it looks cray, you know, when you don't know, when you don't understand. But I can back up everything I just showed you and told you. All right, guys, we're coming to the end of this video. Today is July 9th, Monday, and I had to take a break because doing this video, this message that we got through Sister Tamika, it really drained me spiritually. I mean, I don't know what you guys got from it. I don't know if you understand the enormity of the message, but it's huge. And I just was drained this weekend. So I took the time off. Now it's Monday. I'm coming back to try to wrap up this message, all right? Ruach Ha Kodesh is amazing. This whole process is just miraculous. So this is what happens to us as we go from here to here. And this is, if you guys remember from Sister Ashley's screenshots, this is 9. 2 plus 1 plus 6 is 9. And this is 11. 2 plus 1 plus 8 is 11. And I just want you to know, I told you I was really drained, and I was just praying, you know, to be rejuvenated so that I can continue doing the work. I mean, for a minute there, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if, you know, I was like, wow, I'm really tired. But I woke up this morning, and guess what time I woke up? 9:11. 9 o'clock in the morning and 11 minutes, 9:11. So I saw that, and that somehow gave me the energy to get up and say, okay, let's just do this, right? I mean, all thanks, praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Father. So just to remind you guys, we talked about the time, and this is the 4 years. That is when we become the 5 11 11s. So if you remember in another video, I broke down the 511. This was when we were deciphering Sister Ashley's screenshot, and we were talking about the time here is 511, and we broke that down. Now, I just want to clarify again the message. So what we have understood since Troll Hunters, the Troll Hunters playlist, that's on my YouTube channel. Just go to playlists and go to it's called 1111 Melchizedek Priesthood or something like that, but the picture on it is Troll Hunters. So there are 511s in Yahushua's bridal army, and we broke this down and we said the 110 are the priests, the 111 are the leaders, the 112 are the prophets, the 113 are the witnesses, the 114 are the 144,000. We add that extra one for Yahushua because of Daniel 3. And we talked about the difference. This is just like a code. So when you're reading the Bible or something like that, these codes are speaking to a particular group of people. All right, so that's what we got before. We said the 011 are the people that take the mark of the beast. We said that 115, which is the same as 111 because this is 114, so this would be 115. But in the code, 115 is the opposite of whatever they're talking about before. And then 116 is what happens after. It's the result of. Right? So that's what we talked about before. So with this message that Yahushua just gave us through Sister Tamika, we understand that after 2023, so I assume it's between 2023 and it starts in 2023, it ends in 2025, this process. Okay, and when we did the timeline, that was 9/11. Between 2023 and 2025 is when we will become the 153 triangle of true spiritual Israel, and we will be the 51111s, like you have right here, 1111. It has a comma because it's a 1111, but in actuality, it's 1111. So that would be, instead of 1.110, it's going to be 111110, 111111, 111112, 111113, 111114. And I showed you about this confirmation with the 111113 when I took the screenshot. I showed you that earlier. So I just want you to notice that we said in a couple of videos that 22 represents the seal as far as the code. And just to note that 11 plus 11 is 22. 22 is the Hebrew alphabet, and we talked about how the alphabet is pi because letters are numbers, and pi is the representation of the name of Yahuwah on earth. And we've talked about that in other videos. So I'm just trying to summarize everything and put these pieces together for you guys. Now, some of you might need more proof, so let's go through that. Now, this is why, Sister Tamika, this is why your message said to look at Revelation 11:11, because we haven't understood properly what 11:11 is, and it was just this morning that they gave it to me. So 2 plus 2, when you put 2 and 2 together, you get 22. All right, I want you to notice that 2 olive trees and 2 candlesticks. This is 2 and this is 2, and you put it together and it's 22. Do you see what I mean? 2 plus 2 is 22. Or we can look at it as 11 plus 11 equals 1111. Either way, that represents the 153 true spiritual Israel triangle. And the reason I'm saying this, guys, is because when I'm saying Israel, it's not only by blood. It's true spiritual Israel. It's people who have been grafted in. It's all kinds of people. Now, you don't believe me. Let's look at that. Okay, guys, so what I'm saying right now is I've understood that the 1111 is true spiritual Israel, and that's not only by blood, that's that air body that is true spiritual Israel, human beings on earth. It is also who they are referring to in these Bible verses. So for example, and I will empower my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. We've already talked about that. That's the witnesses. These witnesses are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands that stand before the Lord of the earth. These are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. So what I'm saying is that this is us. This is true spiritual Israel. That verse is not only talking about the witnesses, it's talking about the 1, 5, 3 true spiritual Israel triangle. 2 plus 2 is 11. 11, which is 22, which are the people who are sealed. Okay, so let me keep showing you a little further. And also, I'm just noticing this is Revelation 11, which we know is very important for the message that we got from recently through Sister Tamika. Now this is verse 3, this is verse 4, and this is verse 5. When you add up 3, 4, 5, you get 12, which is the 12 tribes. 3, 4, 5. These are these two candlesticks and two olive trees are talking about true spiritual Israel. Now this is Isaiah 11:11. Okay, I'm sticking to the 11:11s, y'all. Isaiah 11:11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people. The 11:11 is the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathoros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart. And the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to get into Bible study. Only thing I know is what Yahushua teaches me. I'm not a Bible scholar. I'm just telling you what Yahushua tells me. All right, that's it. I'm just a messenger, not a Bible scholar. So without going into the history of this and the prophecy of this and all of this, I just want to show you that Isaiah 11 verse 11 is talking about bringing together and recovering the remnant of his people, which involves people from all over the world. Here again, Romans 11. And it starts with 11, but we're going to read down here a little bit more. So Romans 11:11. I say then, have they stumbled that they shall fall, that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles. 11:11, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Now, if the fall of them to be riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office, if by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. For if the casting away of them be the reconciliation or the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou, being a wild olive tree, wert grafted in among them, and with them partaketh of the root and fatness of the olive tree. Boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief they were broken off, and thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee. So I'm saying, because I get so much pushback about, oh, the black people, brown people, we the real Israelites. We are, yeah. You know what? And these blood Israelites, your branches get broken off. Because you're acting up, Beyonce. Because you're acting up, Jay-Z. And you're acting up, all the people that's following these people right here, you're getting broken off. And you're getting replaced with Gentiles who have faith. So stop it with this spiritual, this Israel is all black and all brown. That ain't true. That is not true. They are people from all over the earth, all different colors. We do not know who is who by the way they look. 11:11 is true spiritual Israel. The 153 triangle is right here. Romans 11:11. Salvation has come to the Gentiles. Isaiah 11:11. To recover the remnant of the people from all over the nations, all four corners of the earth, Ephraim and Judah, together, working together. That's black and white. The two witnesses, the olive trees and the lampstands are all these things that I've just mentioned. This 11:11 is not just the witnesses, it's all of true spiritual Israel that comes together and makes that 153 triangle from 2023 to 2025, and we're ready to work and walk and operate as one body from 2025. And this completely lines up with the hidden timelines that I showed you. So once more, just to remind you guys that I didn't make this up. I didn't go looking for none of this. It's right here. Read 11:11. That was a part of her message. I read it and ding, 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 boom, boom, boom. Here we are. I think the witnesses are, of course, a group of people. But I think in language, it's also talking about all of us in the sense that, like I was saying, I'm writing this book. And this book is my testimony. Do you see what I mean? All of us have a testimony. We are all here to give testimony. It is by the word of our testimony that we will overcome. And that is being a witness. All right. So just I'll finish here. I have so much to tell you guys because as soon as I released the video from last Friday, the next day I got the new message, and the new message is really hard. And so I'm trying to be obedient and say what it is that I'm supposed to be saying. And at the same time, I'm trying to make sense of it and I'm trying to organize it. And it's a real challenge. So if Ruach Ha Kodesh does not give me another huge message between now and next week, I should be able to finish the 2 and the 4 from Sister Ashley's dreams. This video that I've just done, these past 2 videos are huge confirmations. So, but maybe I can give 1 or 2, you know, because it's crazy, it's uncanny. I don't know, maybe in 1 video, maybe I can do all of this, talk about the healing, and I'm not quite sure if this is part of this playlist or if it's a new playlist, but the new message I'm getting has to do with being martyred. It has to do with understanding that that I'm telling you, the 153 spiritual triangle of Israel, is a conflicting message with the rapture doctrine. They don't go together. So this is a conversation that we have to have. And the firefly message, which actually goes with the martyrs. Okay, so as you can see, just this by itself is a lot. We'll see. We'll see what Ruach Ha Kodesh has planned for next week, and if not, we'll go with this. All right. So I'll talk to you soon. God bless you. I hope you have understood this message. I hope you have been edified by it, and please, the most important thing to do right now is to continue eating this spiritual nourishment. Please make sure you have a spiritual routine. If you haven't started observing the 7th-day Sabbath, please look into it, experiment, try it for a month, and see how it changes your life. You know, you're going to be amazed. That's it. All praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Father. Thank you for sharing this information with us, Holy Father, in Yahushua HaMashiach's name we pray. Shalom, saints.